Hello and welcome back, and in this video we are going to be talking about mask modifier. So SwiftUI's mask modifier is used for masking one view with another view, and we can use this mask modifier when we want to apply alpha or opacity value to another view, basically adding to the current view. Okay, so application for mask modifier is simple. Let's set a text view's foreground color in a gradient style with the help of mask modifier. Okay, and that's how we're gonna basically learn how to use mask modifier. So I'm gonna start with a linear gradient. I'm gonna choose the overload that takes colors as a parameter, and we're gonna set pink and blue colors. Next, we're going to set the starting point for linear gradient, and that's going to be in leading direction, and endpoint is going to be in trailing direction. Alright, so we have our gradient ready. Now we're going to create a mask, and inside the mask, basically the closure takes a view. So this is a view builder closure, and you can actually create any view of your choice. So we're gonna basically create a text view. Alright, so we're gonna set the text view with system size of 64, and as you can see, now the delta key is written in a gradient format. So basically your gradient, your linear gradient, is now masked with the delta key text view. Okay, and it's basically applying that alpha or the opacity value on to the delta key and basically making the background visible. So basically in this case the background is your linear gradient, so linear gradient becomes visible through the text delta key, and that's how mask modifier is applied. Okay, we can use mask modifier to combine two images to create a new image as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at that example. I'm gonna take this and put it in a variable. So you can reference it later, and then we can actually create our image. So I'm going to use an image system overload initializer, and we are going to basically first find SF symbol image, and the one that I chose for is envelope.batch.fill. Alright, so this is how our envelope.batch.fill looks like, and we're gonna set its font to somewhat bigger size. So let's go ahead and set it to 128 points. Alright, so we have our badge, our envelope with badge showing up correctly, or it's big enough now. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically use mask to overlay or basically create another image by putting a person.fill into this. So on the top of this, so person.fill is gonna mask the envelope.batch.fill image. Alright, so we're gonna set the font size for the image person.fill as 64, and if you notice, now you have this new image which almost looks like a graduation gown. Okay, so that's like, how you can create the image. Now I'm going to add an overlay to add a circle around this. So basically just a circle with stroke and line width of 4 points. And I'm going to set the foreground color for the entire thing as color.blue. Alright, so that's how you can create a completely new image for your app just by combining two different images and using the Mask Modifier. Now, we can use Mask Modifier to add a dimming effect on images as well. Alright, so what we're going to do for the next example is we are going to create a private state variable which is going to apply a dim, and upon tapping on the view we're gonna make the view dim, and when user would tap, the effect is going to toggle off and dim is going to be removed. So you're going to have image visible with full brightness. Okay, so full opacity basically. All right, so let's go ahead and create that example. I'm going to put this example into another variable as well. And let's go ahead and add a state property first. And then we're going to create an image. Let's set the foreground color to be a blue color, and let's apply mask. The mask is going to be a rectangle with foreground color, and the color is going to be color.orange.opacity, and we're going to set the opacity based on the state of apply dim. So apply dim, if it is true, set the opacity to 0.2, that means 20% visible, otherwise 0.9. Okay, now we're gonna do basically we're gonna apply this effect upon tapping on the view. So we're gonna attach on tap gesture recognizer, and we're gonna toggle apply dim inside that. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and try this out. So as you can see, we have the dim effect being applied on using basically the mask. So we are not setting the opacity for the person.fill, but rather we are applying that onto the rectangle, and as the rectangle basically applies the opacity for itself, basically it masks or partially masks the view that's basically defined as the mask view for this rectangle view. Okay, so that's how you can actually create certain events just by combining the mask modifier. Now this can be achieved by using just a simple applying opacity onto the image, but I'm just showing you the examples of masks so you can find a better use case for that. All right, mask modifier can be used to color SF symbol based on the images as well. Okay, so for example, what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically take this example, put it in another variable, and we're gonna basically create a new state variable. So let me take this state variable, put it with this one example, and we're gonna create a new state variable gradient endpoints, which is gonna be of type unit point, and we're going to initialize with the trailing. So what we are going to do is we're going to create an image. We're going to create basically a linear gradient first. We're going to mask it with an image, SF symbol based image, and upon tapping we're going to basically animate the gradients endpoint, okay, or basically the start point, start or end, whichever. Okay, let's go ahead and define an array of all the unit points that are available for us to use. All right, so let's go ahead and create our image first, or actually first we're gonna have a linear gradient. So linear gradient with colors. Let's go ahead and choose red and blue color. Start point is gonna be leading, and end point is gonna be basically the gradient endpoint variable or state variable that we have. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna set the frame for this guy with width of 128 and height of 128 points. Okay, now let's go ahead and attach on tap gesture, and we're gonna say with animation we're gonna use gradient endpoint, and we're gonna go into our unit points, and we're gonna get a random element from that. Okay, if the random element is not available, or if it is null, we're gonna actually just say use the trailing value. Okay, so let me show you what we have got. So as you can see, our different views or different gradients with the endpoints are animating. Okay, now we're gonna basically mask this gradient view with an image view. So let's go ahead and mask with an image. System name flag dot checker. For the font, we're gonna set the system size of 128 points. So essentially it's the same size as the gradient itself, and upon tapping you can see the flag color being animated. All right, okay, so with that we have reached the end of this video where we learned how to use Mask Modifier with various different views to create some custom effects. All right, thank you so much once again for watching, and I will see you guys in another SwiftUI video. Thank you.